Chris, what is our first main topic today?
Our first topic comes from Daemon is the GOAT. Hi, John and crew. The newest episode of House of the Dragon is here. Paddy Considine was amazing throughout, and Matt Smith at the end was just amazing work. Do I dare say that this show could be even better than Game of Thrones, just 3 episodes in? What are your thoughts? And bring on the filthy.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yeah, we are going to right now speak in very non-spoilery terms about House of the Dragon episode 3. But just to let you guys know, a little bit later this afternoon at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will be doing our Game of Thrones House of the Dragon after show, where we will talk in full open spoiler glory and details, and we will be taking your questions and everything as well. So make sure, if you guys have watched the episode, come back and join us at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for our House of the Dragon after show. But that said, I've been really impressed with this show through the first 2 episodes. And now we've gotten into episode 3, and I was wondering, are we going to start hitting a little bit of a downslide or a little bit of a slump? No slump. I thought this episode was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. And again, it focuses so much on character and the drama going on and the Game of Thrones constantly being played and even meeting new characters. Chris and I were talking before the show, even new characters popping up are clearly playing the Game of Thrones. All at the same time, everybody's got an agenda. Everybody's doing their own machinations. Everybody's got an angle. And it just plays so damn well. I am loving the show. Paddy Considine as King Viserys rules. I mean, the way he plays this character is so great. A king who feels trapped on his own throne and like fighting battles even within his family, outside the pressures and all that kind of stuff, all while his physical health is ailing, all that kind of stuff. Rhys Ifans as Otto absolutely kills it as well. Again, fantastic. Matt Smith's Daemon character. The reason I love this character so much is because he is so layered. Like, on the one hand, he's a total jack-off. Like, he's just, there's no way around it. He's a total jack-off. But on the other hand, he's fiercely, even though he freaking hates his brother, he's fiercely loyal to his brother, all in this weird way at the same time. And totally loves his family while being totally pissy and mad and angry at his family, to the point that he does something in this episode, which we can't talk about, but we will discuss in the after show, that is just remarkable. I would have thought they would have done the actor switch out for Rhaenyra and Alicent this episode, but they did not. This episode picks up 2 years after the last episode. So they're moving. I mean, they're moving along pretty quickly and pretty well. They get into this big, one of the narrative kind of ideas and one of the themes of it is, well, it's 2 years later. Rhaenyra's a young woman now. She's not a child. And therefore, being apparently in this world over the age of 14, time for you to start thinking about getting married. So that becomes kind of one of the subplots of it, but it plays out beautifully. They wind up finding ways to avoid common movie tropes about similar themes while doing some really interesting things at the same time. We get more into some action sequences as well. I'm just telling you, I'm watching. And by the way, I think Matt Smith, I think he had 1 line of dialogue in this episode. If I'm not mistaken, I think he has 1 line of dialogue. I might be off on that, but I don't remember more than 1 line. And yet his performance is incredible. Most of his screen time in this episode, he's not actually speaking, but he's incredible in it. So I got to tell you, now, as far as is it better than Game of Thrones, Rob, you pointed out to me a couple of weeks ago a very, very good point, which is, somebody, I did a Q&A and Ask Me Anything last night, and somebody also brought up, I think this show is better than Game of Thrones. And I said, well, here's the thing. You do have to keep in mind that this show has a very, very big advantage that the original Game of Thrones didn't have. And that's the original Game of Thrones. This show gets to come out knowing that the audience already knows this world. We know Westeros. We know the Iron Throne. We know a lot of the history. These are brand new characters inhabiting it, but it's the same story, right? And so this show is able to launch and come out and stand on the shoulders of Game of Thrones, which of course Game of Thrones had to come out and totally start from scratch. But I gotta say, this House of the Dragon show is killing me right now. I'm loving it. Hey guys, we want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this video, Athletic Greens. Now, I started taking Athletic Greens because I don't eat enough vegetables, and I was looking for a way to make up for that deficit in my diet of those vitamins and minerals that I really need in my system, and thank goodness I found Athletic Greens, and I literally take it every morning. You see, with one scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole foods, source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, all the things. And my wife got onto it, and now she absolutely loves it. You know, tons of people take some kind of multivitamin, and it's important to choose one with high-quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb, like Athletic Greens. So right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with a convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into the flu and cold season. It's just one scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Campea. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Campea to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Anyway, Chris, you saw episode 3. What were your general thoughts on it?
Oh man, well, tough opening.
Yes.
Whew. But then we got through it and we got to so much familial drama and things. We got to see a bit more about how the other houses are coming into play here too. All these power grabs, how people are viewing Rhaenyra now. It's a really interesting episode. And all this stuff with Daemon was so fun. Because for a while, there was a moment where I was like, you know, this isn't a particularly action-packed episode.
By the way, why does it look like he's about to have a rap battle? Like, why does it look like he's standing across from Eminem and he's about to get into a rap battle?
He's going to start yelling about all his mom's spaghetti. It's going to be great. But it was a really great episode. And the ending of that one, just the final like 15 minutes of this episode were just so fun. I am surprised, and we'll talk more about in the spoilers, of what happened at the end. I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
As vague as I'll be.
Yeah, didn't see that coming. Hey, Rob, you had a chance to see episode 3. How are you liking the show so far, and what were your general thoughts on the 3rd episode?
I thought this was the best episode so far. And what I love, you know, in a way, it's kind of like Succession, HBO's Succession, in that part of the reason I think this show, like we said, you're building on Game of Thrones, but the focus of this show is much more narrow. With Game of Thrones, you know, there's 10 different storylines that you were following all over Westeros, whether you were at the Wall, whether you were at Castle Black, whether you were at Winterfell, whether you were at King's Landing, wherever the hell you were, whether you were in Old Town, or, you know, going to the Iron Bank in season 5, or you were everywhere. This has a very narrow focus on a family and a transitional period of time that's going to lead to this Targaryen civil war. And it's really fascinating because I really like, in spending more time with the characters, especially Viserys, watching his evolution in only 3 episodes has been quite extraordinary. And like you were pointing out earlier, we learn things about him as a person, as a man, as a king, that make him an incredibly both sympathetic. You really feel for him. Like, he's not, even though he's a king, you still understand his motivations and like what pressures he's facing. And it really makes for some tremendous drama. And I love the fact that all of these characters, I like them more and more in each episode, because you really understand where they're coming from. And right now, the heart of this show has been, I think, the relationship with Rhaenyra and her father. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's a relationship that's fracturing, and it's going to be fracturing because of the pressures of, I mean, a father is fighting against a love for his daughter, but also his realm and what he has to do in terms of tradition and things that are done and things that just aren't done yet. I mean, there's a moment when Rhaenyra makes a huge statement without saying a word.
Yes.
She just
rolls
in.
Yep.
She just rolls in, and you'll see why.
Yep.
And she's like, "You little bitches, you don't think a woman can rule this kingdom?" And she doesn't say a word, but she makes a statement.
Yep.
And I love that. And I thought that was, it's a really satisfying show, John. And I only see it getting better. And for those people, there's a single shot in this movie. I mean, everyone knows there's a battle in it because there's articles, but there's a single shot in this battle that I thought was extraordinary. And I'd never seen a shot like this in Game of Thrones, where you're basically a close-up. It's all like a 50-50 shot. The camera's panning with these guys running.
Oh, yeah,
the people that they're running at, and it literally a clash. And I was like, wow, just the one, only Game of Thrones can deliver that kind of thing. And that shot made me gasp. And it's a quick shot. Most people might not notice it, but I watched it and was like, that's not easy to do.
You know, we were talking before the show started today because, you know, fair or unfair, we're obviously going to draw comparisons, not so much between House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones. We're going to probably draw some comparisons between House of the Dragon and Rings of Power, which is playing right now. And like right now, I got to see, and I mean, listen, I think we're in for a bunch of episodes. I think both these shows are probably going to end up being great. But right now, I got to say, while Rings of Power has been my number one most anticipated show for a very long time, right now, House of the Dragon has the edge over Rings of Power as far as like watchability and stuff. But I will say this. I was telling Rob this before the show started today. I got home and I had about an hour or so to kill before the new episodes of House of the Dragon dropped. So I decided, I'm going to rewatch episode 2 of Rings of Power. And you guys will remember, I watched episode 1 and 2 back to back in a theater like most people, and I really didn't like episode 1. Like, I think I made that pretty clear. And I knew that episode 2 was a big improvement. Episode 2 was a much better episode than episode 1 was. But I rewatched episode 2, and I wonder if I was so sour at how disappointed I was with episode 1 of Rings of Power that it kind of affected my enjoyment of episode 2. Because when I sat down and just watched episode 2 again yesterday, episode 2 of Rings of Power, I'm like, no, this episode is fucking awesome. This episode is great. And I really, really liked it. Again, I still think House of the Dragon is in the lead right now as far as overall quality of the show. But I hope this becomes really like not a 2-horse race, but I hope we get to see 2 shooting stars that when this is all done, we'll celebrate that this was the time. But we'll see. Right now, House of the Dragon is the better show, though. And episode 3 just kind of drove that home. I thought it was great. Question is for you guys. What did you think of the 3rd episode of Game of Thrones House of the Dragon? And don't forget, later today at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will be doing our Game of Thrones House of the Dragon after show. So make sure you guys come and join us for that.